All right, gonna try this again. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna tag Renee in this, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this works. All right, this is the beauty of technology. So let me see if this is working. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm not having any viewers yet. This is yeah, this is the fourth time, Kim. Let's see where Renee is. I just tagged her in this. So let's see if I can get her on. Share. I just invited her. So let's see if this is going to cooperate. I know I tagged her in the video. And I'm going to allow people to come onto the broadcast. So this is technology at its finest. So I'm just going to wait for Renee to pop on, see if she gets there. She is. I'm going to add her in right away. Fourth time is a charm.
Oh my God!
We finally figured it out.
Hallelujah, amen.
So I want to respect your time and my time because I have to go pick up my son in about 30 minutes. So, as I always like to do, first and foremost, thank you so much for jumping on today.
Thank you for having me. You know, I got a bracelet that says "Never give up." My best friend. Wow, we didn't give up.
No, ever. So I'm just going to turn it to you. So there's a bit of my network doesn't know who you are, what you do, your background. So just do a little introduction of who you are, how you kind of found your path, and what is Renee doing today?
Okay, so I'm Renee Rice, and I have a retail background, and I've got it's pretty diversified from 25 years in corporate America. During that time, I had an illness in 2013, where my whole platform is based on today, and it was called viral pharyngitis. I'm sure it still is today, and it took away my voice and my ability to not just communicate with anybody, but to be out in the public. So that was a really devastating time. And when I was released from my corporate America job in 2017, I'm like, what am I going to do now? I had no idea. And for some reason, 2013 kept coming back to me. I'm like, why am I thinking about that? It's over, move on, you know?
Right.
And it kept coming back to me. I'm like, what is going on? What is this? What's happening? So I kept thinking about it. I'm like, there's a reason I'm thinking about something that happened years ago when I got past it, or I thought I got past it. I got past the illness. I got past the whole thing as far as that's concerned. But I think the Lord above was trying to send me a message saying, you're supposed to help others. I gave it back to you. So I got my voice back. It was not that quick. I'm making it like it was a short thing. It was a very devastating time in my life. I was really a prisoner in my own home, in my own body, no voice, no communication with the public. I remember laying in the ER with the little voice I had at the time, asking the doctor, am I contagious? He looked at me, he's like, you're highly contagious. You can't be with the public. So it was, the retail season in 2013 when I got this, and it was like the Christmas holiday season in retail, I should say. And I remember feeling like there was a sore in my throat as opposed to a sore throat. I went to the urgent care. 2 visits later, that one sore that I had felt the first time had like given birth to many. And I ended up in the ER. My best friend, who's now my angel in heaven, really was able to be there for me. She couldn't be with me physically because I was so contagious. When she'd come over with chicken and soup and things I could swallow, I could not swallow my own saliva. It was really a devastating time. It was the most pain I've ever experienced in my entire life. And with that, as I said, I kind of going back and forth, but what I did with that, like, what do you do? Make your mess into your message, when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And it's really giving women a voice. So many women are afraid to speak up and speak out. And, for fear of repercussions, whether it's at work or in the relationships, they're just afraid. And I realized, although I was, using my voice to communicate at work, I wasn't really speaking my own message.
Mm.
When you're working for Corporate 500 and you're in corporate America, you always communicate their messages. And I really never spoke up.
Mm.
And now helping other women to find their true voice and their true passion. And again, whether it's in a relationship with a significant other or in their job, it's really being able to use your authentic voice without fear of repercussions. It's always how you say things and speaking up and speaking out. And that's what I do today. I love either speaking in front of a group or doing one-on-one coaching with women. But that's what it's really about. We don't really use our voices as they're intended. We're always afraid of what others are going to think or judge us, but really we have a voice.
And it's
That's
interesting because,
different.
from tragedy comes triumph. And from a physical standpoint, your ability to speak was taken from you, and you couldn't communicate with people, but in a physiological sense and in an emotional sense, there's a lot of other women, other people out there that choose not to speak because of fear. And what I've learned, I think everyone is accustomed to this. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't go through a time in their life where they're afraid to speak up. So, obviously your business is more geared towards women. So, what are some of the commonalities that you see? Why do you feel, um, not from a sociological standpoint, but from just a regular emotional standpoint, why are a lot of women afraid to share their voice?
Well, they say fear, it's the acronym for false evidence appearing real. It's those stories we tell ourselves and we begin to believe them and incorporate them into our own behaviors. And to answer your question, again, it's fear of judgment, what others are going to think or say about us, fear of repercussions, whether in, as you said, your relationship or at work. What's going to happen? Am I going to lose my job if I say something? We're always afraid. We're always afraid. We're walking in fear instead of walking in faith. And there's no room for faith and fear in the same
Mm,
space. So it's better to choose faith
yeah.
and believe, trust, have faith, and believe is what my best friend, who, as I said, is one of my angels in heaven right now, always taught me. You have to have faith, and you've got to believe, and you've got to trust in yourself. Trust in your ability to make the right decisions. We always ask others what they think. It's great to get others' opinions, sure. There are friends are in our life for a reason. But if your gut is telling you something, there's a reason. If you're questioning something, there's a
Mm,
reason. Sit in silence for a minute with yourself and do the Ben Franklin, your pros and cons of something and check in with your own emotions and why am I feeling nervous? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I
mm,
afraid? What am I afraid of? You know, and also to try to eliminate the naysayers in your life because there's so many people that we keep in our lives that really no longer serve us. And if they're not helping you, they're hurting you in some
yeah.
way. And how are they serving you? Are you keeping them just because you want to have more friends? Are you keeping them because they're adding value? If you want to add value to others, make sure you have value added in your life as well.
It's one of those things where, they say that, you can't choose your family. I mean, you can't. And, sometimes your family can be an asset and sometimes your family can be a liability, just like friends. But I think the amazing thing about life is that each one of us has been gifted the power to choose who we spend our time with and how we spend our time. And,
Yes,
you know, energy is big, but also you influence is big as well, because like will always attract like. And you hear about the circle of influence, that you're typically the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So, what I always recommend to people is take a deeper dive into the people that you're spending the most time with, and write down their names and write down their characteristics. Are they positive? Do they have a good money mindset? Are they entrepreneurial? Are they big thinkers? Do they gossip? All those things,
Right.
because you become, what you surround yourself with. And
Absolutely.
and in regards to, being afraid to speak, I think that also may come back to something that maybe happened in your childhood. And for me, I was bullied and picked on as a kid, and I had my parents fight my battles for me. So it was normal for me to bottle something up and just say, "Hey, here's what I'm going through," and then they would step in and take care of it. So it has a lot to do with emotional maturity, because as human beings, we don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings. Like that's
Right.
not. But sometimes you have to have difficult conversations.
Yes.
So in that respect, what's one of the most difficult conversations that you've ever had to have that really allowed you to speak your voice?
Actually, you know what? The most difficult conversation is with myself
Ooh, that's good. So
because
what did you used to tell yourself?
well, I think like most women, not being good enough, not aspire, not aspiring, but not achieving everything that I wanted to. I was always in competition with myself. But I think that is the most difficult conversation is because and you can't help anybody else until you put your own oxygen mask on first and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's those stories that we hear. When I was in corporate America, I did really well, but it was because I'm a connector of people. So I did well because my people did well because I was able to coach them to the successes they achieved. But it was really about that communication piece. And the thing is, even doing as well as I did, being number one and in every which way, I see these comments coming. I'm going to address some of them here.
Yeah, I am
Is
my own worst critic.
Yeah,
My own conversation is the toughest to deal with. Yeah.
yeah. It's true. It's you got to get out of your own head, as we say. But it's really getting those things down, like writing them down, because in order to help others, you got to help yourself first
Yeah.
and figure out what happened to me. Why was what was going on in my head? And like I was saying, I did really well in my job, and for 25 years I did very, very well. But yet I always felt like I wasn't enough because of things that I had been told, and what different things that happened in that position that I was in. And when you feel like you've been beaten to a pulp, you start believing those things when you're vulnerable and you're in a space where you're like, oh, I guess I'm not. And then you start believing those stories, which are not true.
Yeah.
You can't become number one, all across, the country, the district, the region. That doesn't happen if you're not good enough. But when, people that are superior to you start putting thoughts in your head that you're not, you start believing them and then you start incorporating them into what you're doing. And you're like, that's not true. But when you're in that space of feeling like you've been beaten, those things happen again in your career, in your relationship, and you give up and you give in to those negative conversations, and you start playing those in your own head, and they are not true, people. They're not true. They're
Well,
not true.
it's interesting because Les Brown always talks about other people's thoughts and opinions of you
Yeah.
do not have to become your reality. And too often we allow other people's thoughts and opinions of us, because we're people pleasers at heart. We want everyone
Yes.
to like us.
Yes.
So we start sacrificing our own well-being and our own morals and standards just to fit in, and that's not what it's about. And Christina says, you mean something like making more money than your male peers, and your new boss questions why. And then Kim says, I feel like an imposter and someone going someone's going to show up and say, quote, no, you are not that person. Someone else is much better at this. I feel
Oh,
like
I
you
want
are
to
in
talk
my
to
head
her.
now.
Please reach out to me. I'll have her. Please reach out to me.
Yeah, so Renee is very open, and she does discovery calls with people. I tagged her in this. Send her a message on Facebook after the live, and she'd be happy to get on the phone with you. So, um,
Absolutely.
but address some of that, Renee, while these ladies are really feeling this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are our own worst enemy. And like I was saying, you feel like you become these people, and like she's like, feel like someone's going to come in and say, you're found out, you're not that person. We become who we've been told that we are, and you start listening to these people, and the more time you spend with these people, especially when you're in, whether it's a relationship or you're in your job, um that's like your second family, and you're spending more time with them than your true blood relatives, then you
Yeah.
start really believing these conversations, and you start looking at yourself differently than you really should be. You are better than you think and smarter than you know,
Mm.
because we've just allowed ourselves to be so vulnerable. And yeah, I was there. I get it. I can only speak to this because I've been there. I've been through it. And what do they say? If God brings you to it and he brings you through it, there's a reason. There's a reason I lost my voice. I didn't know it at the time. There's a reason I was in such dire pain, laying in an ER, not being able to communicate or see my own family or friends for 3.5. I didn't get my voice back till close, I would say, totally back, maybe close to 5 to 6 months.
Mm.
I mean, I had to go for vocal coaching, like a muscle. Like, when you don't use your muscles, they atrophy. My voice, my vocal cords were not used. They didn't know if I'd ever speak again. I mean, I didn't know if I was going to be a mute, for God's sakes, until I
Yeah.
was I was in the doctor's office, and they're putting scopes down my throat to see if there's permanent damage to my vocal cords. I mean, I was sitting there going, "Oh my God." In my head, I couldn't speak. I was like,
Mm.
because they didn't know if it was permanent. I'm like, I can't even imagine. The two
So
things I love most are speaking and connecting with people, and those were taken from me. There's a reason.
so
That was
what
the
are
reason.
some things, for me, I love journaling, I love meditating, I love practicing gratitude. So for the ladies that are on here and they're, they have these stories running through their heads, what's most cathartic for me and what I feel the most therapeutic release from is getting my thoughts of what's in my head and what's on my heart on paper. So talk about the idea of journaling, because I believe in therapy. I've been in and out of therapy for the last 6 or 7 years. I really feel that having a therapist and an impartial party is so important for people to talk to. Um, that's they're a part of your team. They want to help you
Absolutely.
improve. Therapy
Absolutely.
is short for therapeutic. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means you want to
Correct.
improve yourself. So
Yes.
there's a stigma about therapy, but if someone's not at that point where they're ready to hire a therapist, and maybe journaling is the best thing for them. Speak on that. How important is it to take those emotions that are in their heart and in their head and put them on paper, and what can that do for them over time?
So I actually did that. Obviously Christina said she feels it when she's not journaling. Right. Yeah, I absolutely journaled. I mean, and you know what I did and what I still do? It's a gratitude journal. Even if I'm
Yeah.
not writing it, I'm saying it out loud. You could do it in the morning or at night. Pick 5 things, or if you can't think of five, pick maybe three
Or
of
just
what you're
one, just
grateful for.
something.
Pick one, for crying out loud. Pick one, something that you are grateful for in your day that happened. You could do it in the morning when you wake up. Thank you, God, for letting me wake up to another day, and to learn more, because from triumph, like you said earlier on, Scott, from tragedy, you can triumph over tragedy,
Hmm.
and there's reasons we're still here.
Hmm.
There are reasons we still are in this physical world, and that we're here to be able to help other people find their voice, use their voice. Yes, journaling definitely helps, because you're putting your emotions down on paper. And you said something that I want to touch on. You said what's in your heart and what's in your head. I'm going to tell you something. They're not always the same thing.
No.
And there's your misalignment, in what women, or anybody could really be thinking, not necessarily women. because your heart is saying one thing and your head is saying another. And when they're out of alignment, it's like if your back is out of alignment, what does the chiropractor do? He adjusts it. We all
Yeah.
need an adjustment, you know? So we have to adjust ourselves. Oh, John, hi, Chauncey. You know, is that's what it is. We need to have our own adjustment. You have to go to a chiropractor to get one all the time. Hi, Wendy. Wendy's what my friends are on. That's great. But it's adjusting our own mindset, you know, and reset mindset. It's adjusting what we're thinking, our own beliefs, our own negative self-talk that what
Yeah.
we say to each other. Put down things that you're grateful for on your in your journal on paper. Get it out of your head and onto paper. And then you can start feeling good or better about yourself and things that have gone on in your day. And not everything, you know, that people think, well, I'm not grateful for this or that happened or that happened. Not every day is a perfect day.
Right.
And you know what? Be grateful for those things that are not perfect in your day. Because I've had days like that. I had a couple this week already. It's only Wednesday. I'm like, but what I did is I sat back and I said, okay, Renee, what happened from that? What did you learn from that experience? And you have takeaways from each day. Instead of just going through your day, rushing to the next thing, because we're always going on to the next thing. But really look at what's going on or what happened. And there are takeaways from these things. There are lessons. If you don't sit back and look at what happened, you're not going to learn from it.
Yeah.
And we're so quick to move on to the next thing because there's always that next thing. But be silent and be quiet in your own thoughts. And even if those thoughts are negative, okay, why am I thinking of this negative thought? Just get out of your own head, but put it down on paper. What are you learning from it? There's lessons that we're learning if we choose to take the time and make the time to learn them.
Yeah. One of my favorite speeches from the movies it was Charlie Chaplin's actually first speaking movie in 1937. It was called The Great Dictator. And you can find the speech on YouTube. It's about 3.5 minutes. And it was absolutely phenomenal. And the one part of the speech, he says, people think too much and they feel too little.
Oh, yeah.
And this was in 1937. This was like, almost 90 years ago. And it still rings true today. People are thinking way too much and they're feeling too little. And, you know, it's been proven scientifically from an emotional standpoint, when you are practicing gratitude and when you are feeling gratitude, it is emotionally impossible to feel any other feeling besides that. So they tell you, start your day with gratitude. So you start your feelings off right, and end your day with gratitude. So as you go to bed, you're going to bed with a grateful heart, because physiologically, you're going to start realigning your feelings and your life becomes all about gratitude. Then you start seeing your glass not only half full, but one that can be refilled all the time. And it's such a beautiful thing, because people don't realize the gift that you're given just to wake up. Sadhguru, who's an amazing speaker, he's an Indian yogi. um, he talks about, he goes, if you can wake up in the morning and you can see the ceiling above you, he goes, you're already victorious before your day's begun.
Absolutely.
He said there's 1 million people worldwide that unfortunately do not open their eyes every single day around the world. And if you're one of them that did, you've already won. And I think, and again, a lot of these phrases, a lot of these words, everyone hears them, they're regurgitated, but you need to keep hearing it. And
Yes.
you're going to hear it maybe said in a different way or from a different person, where it's finally going to hit. And again, the greatest storytellers aren't the best speakers.
Right.
The best storytellers are the ones that share themselves with others, because what I found through, when I share my story with people, all the things that I had to overcome, it motivates people, because a lot of people go through life feeling like they're alone. And when you share a
Hmm.
story, you're giving people permission to say, what? I'm not alone. This person went through the same thing, and here's how they got out of it, and I can do it too. And it just reestablishes belief and trust and faith, and really that motivation to continue to move forward. So I do want to respect your time, and obviously the rest of what I have to do this afternoon. So just a couple final questions.
Yes.
Number one, what do you feel has been your greatest personal or professional accomplishment to date?
Good question.
Thank you.
I think it's overcoming the things that I've been through. I think it's trusting myself and having that belief and faith and trust in my own abilities. Because when you can't, you know, do that for yourself, you cannot be able to help anybody else. So I think that's the biggest accomplishment, knowing that I am enough, knowing that I'm good enough, and knowing that what I went through can now help others achieve their goals and
Mm,
share their voice and overcome things that they're going through, because I wasn't brought through it for nothing. There was a
hmm.
reason, and now I know it, and now I'm able to share it. That's a gift. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything that was, you know, at the time I didn't know it. In 2013, I was not really, you know, fully awakened to things like that. And I didn't know, and I'm just like, oh damn, I'm really sick. And I didn't know if I was gonna ever get better. And I was just not in that, you know, I was always go, 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 go. I didn't
Hmm.
stop until God gave me a screeching halt
Mm,
and said, this is it for a while. You can't, you're like locked away. I was literally a prisoner in my own home, in my, like I said, my
mm.
own body. It was horrendous. It was an awful time in my life. You know, literally, it was devastating. Um, but that is the biggest thing.
So, second to last question, what is the greatest personal or professional obstacle that you had to overcome?
Ah, you know what? It's the same answer.
Mm,
It's the same answer. These are good questions. It's knowing that I am, you know, stronger. Like I said, Terry, stronger than I felt at the time, and you know, giving myself credit and being able to be that strength for other people. My best friend was always my rock, and then she passed, and I'm like, oh my God, I wanted to go with her. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Right? I was so,
right.
you know, it was like so accustomed to having somebody in your life that's your best friend for 20 years. And then I recently lost my dad in December. Like, you know, like, wow. But it's not the things that you lose in life. It's the lessons you learn along the way.
Yeah.
Those are the golden nuggets. Those are the takeaways that you have to realize, that you don't realize those things as you're going through the crap, because it's crap. And you're
Yeah.
like, holy cow, this sucks.
Yeah.
And it does at the time. I'm not saying that this stuff doesn't. It does. No way around it. But getting through and having people in your corner, when you can't always be in your own corner because you're going through the crap, it's tough. But that's why I love being able to do what I do for other people, because we all need that person to help us through that stuff. When you feel like, you know, sometimes you're embarrassed to say what you're going through, like, oh God, no one's going to understand it. People are going to judge me. I can't share that. You can share that. Share it with me. It's okay. There is no judgment. We all go through crap, you know,
Right.
and you look at people's lives, you see what they want you to see. You don't always see the behind the scenes stuff, to, you know, that got them where they are today. All you see is the glitz and the glamour of what they're putting out there. You have no idea of the ugliness that went on
The
behind the
story.
scenes. Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't know the story. So you're afraid to tell your story because you feel like, you know, look at that person, look where they are, where he is, where she is. No one's gonna understand where I'm at. Oh hell yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh, yes. You have no idea how much I will. You have no idea.
That's a great answer. So, before my final question, um, who is your ideal client? How can people connect with you? And I'm just going to turn it to you for that.
Okay. Well, my ideal client is that woman that is not feeling good enough or feeling like she gets the respect that she deserves, but is afraid to speak up or say anything. Again, whether it's in a relationship or in her job, um, and really helping her through those pain points and letting her know that she can get through it. And I'm happy to be there to help her as far as connecting with me. And I can help gentlemen too. I don't want to think, oh, she's all about women.
Mm.
I feel the stronger connection with women, but I can certainly help the guys too.
Mm.
So connecting with me is reneerice.com. You can certainly connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm definitely there. I have my business page, Using Your Voice, as well. I'm active on all of these sites. So certainly reach out to me. You can message me on Messenger is probably a great way to do that. And then I can connect with you and we can share whatever it is. I am an open book. So I'm not going to hold back on people because they need to hear, what they're going through. They're not alone,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to help them through it. By all
Yeah, and
means,
definitely
more than
drop
happy.
your, after we get off, definitely go in and drop your website link in the comment section so people can find that.
And also one last thing for those in California, I'm doing a retreat with my dear friend Wendy Lloyd in San Diego, and it's we have some spots that are still open. So if you're interested in coming to that retreat, it's to help women. It's for women only, but it's in San Diego, the 16th to the 19th of May. So
Mm.
let me know
And drop
about
the
that
yeah,
too.
and drop the
Yeah,
link down there for that too, for information purposes.
I certainly will do that as well.
So
I want to
final
thank you,
question.
Scott. Yes,
Well,
go
final
ahead.
question. There's no wrong answer, but I love asking people this question because everyone has a different meaning to it. So, in your life, what does success mean to you?
Success is really, I think, doing what you love and loving what you do.
Mm.
Being successful is also, I just did a YouTube video yesterday. If anybody wants to check it out, it's staying in your own lane and not comparing yourself to others.
Mm.
You're successful when you're happy with your life. That's a success because it means you're accomplishing what you want to accomplish, you're achieving what you want to achieve. That is, it doesn't necessarily have to always do with a monetary achievement. Did you do what you wanted to do? Did you achieve what you wanted to achieve? And it doesn't have to be success in your whole life. Let's not make it huge. How about the small accomplishments? Did you do what you wanted for the day? Did you achieve what you wanted to achieve? You had a
Mm.
successful day. That's
Yep.
part of gratitude. Be grateful. Don't look, well, you didn't do this. Look at that person. Look at that person. Don't look in the other lane. Stay focused. Check out the YouTube video. I did it yesterday, and I think it's a good one because it really talks about. That's a short little video, but I posted yesterday, and it's about just staying in your lane and focusing on what your goals are.
Yeah, any of those links, definitely drop them all in the comment section after we're done. So, Renee, thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your story, sharing your time, sharing your wisdom. I know this impacted people in such a wonderful, great way, and just grateful for you. And I know we're running this back next week. The tables will be reversed, so I'll be getting interviewed, and I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to that. And just I'm just looking forward to conversing more with you, and just want to wish you continued success. And again, thank you so much for sharing yourself with the audience today.
And thank you so much, Scott, for having me. I am just as grateful to connect with you and to have this time with you as you're with me. It's it's very reciprocated. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
You're
Have a
so
great day,
welcome. You
everybody.
got love and gratitude to you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and
You as well. I
drop
look
those,
forward to connecting with your audience.
yes, and drop those links a little bit later after we're done.
I certainly will. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks,
Bye bye.
Renee.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
So, guys, as you can see, sometimes our heads are the ones that hold us back the most. So I hope you really listened to Renee and all of the amazing, amazing wisdom that she shared with you guys. And just remember, everything is possible, just doing what you love and loving what you do. I think that's such a beautiful message. So Renee, thank you again for sharing your time. Thank you guys for being here today. Love and gratitude to each and every one of you, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.